Hello everyone and welcome to this week's game development log diary video, and this week I'm going to be working on graphical user interfaces. I'm not going to be using any extra libraries for this. I'm going to be programming it all by myself from scratch, and hopefully it will turn out quite good. So the first day of each week is usually just research and planning, and that's pretty much what I've been doing today. I did a lot of reading up about user interfaces, and also I've drawn up this little plan in Paint of how I hope that the GUIs will look like in the future of my game. Day 2, and the first thing I've done is to program a very simple method in the rendering system which renders a texture at a fixed point on the screen. And this method takes in an X and Y coordinate of the texture on the screen and also an X and Y scale to determine how large the texture should be rendered on the screen. And I've tested it out here, as you can see, to render a very basic frame for a user interface. However, if I want to have different sized frames, it's not just as simple as resizing this texture, because as you can see here, when I've tried to scale the frame, the texture has got all stretched. Some of the borders are thinner than others, and the corners are all distorted, and it doesn't look very good. And tomorrow I'm going to go about programming something a little bit better. So it's Wednesday, and as you can see, I fixed that problem that I was having yesterday. Here I've got 3 different sizes of user interface, and as you can see, the corners are all in proportion and the borders are all the same width, and it all looks a lot better than it did yesterday. And what I've done here is actually the user interfaces are now made up of 3 different textures. I've got one texture for the corners, one for the edges, and one for the middle part of the user interface. Here you can see these 3 textures a bit more clearly, and as you can see, the corner textures are always rendered at exactly the same size, the edge textures are always rendered with exactly the same width, and the middle textures just fill up the rest of the space. Today I've been making the interfaces look a little bit nicer. As you can see, I've now got some transparency in there. I was working with the render system to allow for transparent textures, and it all now looks a lot cleaner and a lot nicer. And yeah, that's all I did today. Tomorrow I'm going to start programming buttons and other stuff like that. It is Friday, and today I've been programming elements that can go inside the interfaces, such as textures like this stunning image of a dog, and this button here, which as you can see currently reacts to the mouse going over it, but it doesn't yet do anything when I click on it. And that's what I'm going to go on to program tomorrow. So another day of programming has passed, and today I've got a lot of buttons here. Don't worry, they're not going to look like this in the game, but if I go ahead and click the top one, you can see that firstly it changes colour when you click on it now, and secondly it opens up this new interface, and this new interface is going to be the inventory, and that is what I'm going to be programming next week. And that is it for another week. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, next week I'm going to be working on the inventory, and hopefully that will be up in the video next Friday. But yeah, thanks again for watching. Do subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all next week.